So my name is Jane Hale, and I live in Basingstoke, but I've been a member of the Chesil since 2021. This will be my 5th time on stage at the Chesil. So yeah, I had to do the math this morning. It feels like more than that, but it also feels like less than that. And it's been quite condensed since I joined kind of right after COVID. So there were a lot of things rapid fire. I think we were also desperate just to be out and about and doing things again, that I said yes to everything possible. So yeah, have done a lot in the last couple of years.
Amazing. And how does the role of Charlotte compare to other roles you've done before?
I mean, she's interesting. Charlotte, she's got a lot to say. So I will say it's definitely the most lines I've had to memorize for a show. And I played Lady M, so that's saying a lot. But yeah, she's a really interesting character and kind of hard to figure out. I like her because she was never supposed to have the role that she has in this family. You know, she was smack in the middle of all of these kids. She was never expecting to be the oldest or the matriarch. She thought she'd have a mom and a dad and her older sisters, but that's not what ended up happening. And now she's kind of pushed into this role of being the oldest and the mom of all these kids, and she does the best that she can with that, but she's also just a kid herself. So I think she really struggles with that. The other thing about Charlotte that I sort of resonates with me is, I think her toxic trait is that she assumes everyone's going to react the same way she would in any situation. So when they don't, she gets really confused. And when she gets confused, she gets really upset. And I can definitely empathize with that with Charlotte. She thinks she's doing the right thing in every situation. I mean, we all do. No one wants to believe they're the villain in their own story, but she's convinced that she's doing right by everyone and doesn't understand that someone might have a different reading on that situation, and might need something different than what she might need in that. So that creates a lot of friction between her and her siblings, and her and kind of how she sees the world as well. So she's been a lot of fun to kind of unpick.
You say like that characteristic resonates with you. Do you find when you do acting, you use a lot of your personal experiences?
I think it depends on the character. I think if you want to bring something real and true to the table, and that's what we love about theater, is that we can find some truth in it. You have to find something that you can connect with in that character, even if it's, as I say, Lady M, who's, there's a lot about her that has nothing to do with me. But you've got to find something in her that you can connect with so that you can make her a real person and not some sort of mustache twirling, like stereotype or, two-dimensional whatever. To make it real, you've got to find something that you can connect to. And so I think even if it's a tiny little connection, you need to have something. You don't have to like them, but you have to find something that you can say, oh, okay, that's my way in. I can understand that. And then you can kind of go from there. Sure.
Yeah. Obviously, what's interesting is they are real characters. Do you know much about the Brontë sisters before you started the show? Or?
To be honest, I didn't. I didn't have much knowledge about them at all. I hadn't read anything of the Brontës. I didn't tell Sarah that when I auditioned. But I hadn't read anything of that. It wasn't something that I had to for school, and I'd never. I was kind of more in the Austen camp. But through this process, it's just finding out so much about them and so many little interesting facts about them and their relationships. I find them really interesting, and I think everybody should do a little bit more digging into the Brontës, because still waters kind of run pretty deep.
Amazing. Starting with the show, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What can people expect if they come to the Chesil to watch this show in particular?
I think if people think they know the Brontës, if people think, oh, I read Jane Eyre in school, or I did Wuthering Heights for my GCSEs, I think they're going to find sides of the Brontës that they didn't expect. I think they're also going to probably be surprised, and I mean this it might sound strange, but in how ordinary they are. Just because they were these amazing writers and they were so talented and ahead of their time and all of that, they weren't above petty, sisterly or sibling arguments, and they still had all of those same feelings and desires and challenges that we have in family units today. You know, they weren't above that. They weren't separate from that at all. So I think you'll find again that that's a way to connect to them, not just as these, you know, Victorian writers who have nothing to do with us. You know, they were real people, and they went through real things together as a family, and I think you'll be able to get in touch with that and be moved by that too.
Amazing. And obviously you've got quite a close-knit cast here. If you were all a family, which one would be the youngest sibling?
Zoe.
I'll leave it on that, I think. Anything else you'd like to add at all?
Yeah, I'd say come and see the show. Again, you don't have to know Jane Eyre or Wuthering Heights or The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. You don't have to be a Brontë super fan to come and enjoy the show. It's a story about a family. It happened to be a very exceptional family with very exceptional writers and big personalities and lots going on, but it's a family story at the end of the day, and we can all kind of get in touch with that. So, yeah.
Amazing.